It began with a sound, a thunderous boom that shattered the Siberian silence. Reindeer herders on the Yamal Peninsula saw a flash of light, then felt the ground tremble. Investigating, they found a vast, dark chasm in the tundra, nearly 30 meters wide and deep. This was no ordinary sinkhole. The earth around its rim was blasted outward, as if from an explosion. Scientists were baffled. What force could create such a feature in this frozen landscape? Theories ranged from meteorites to secret tests. But the truth was more alarming, and more terrestrial. The crater wasn't from above, but from deep within the earth. Scientists found high concentrations of methane gas at the bottom. The ground hadn't collapsed. It had exploded. This was a new phenomenon, a geological event with no modern precedent. The Arctic, once thought static and frozen, was revealing a volatile side. More craters began to appear across northern Siberia, each a violent scar on the landscape. These weren't isolated incidents, but symptoms of rapid, profound change. The permafrost, frozen ground stable for millennia, was beginning to fail. We were witnessing the awakening of a force dormant since the last ice age. The Arctic is not just a distant wilderness, it's a critical part of our global climate system. The exploding craters are a dramatic warning. The Arctic is changing faster than we can comprehend. The ground we trust to be solid is proving anything but. What's happening in Siberia is a reminder that Earth's systems are deeply interconnected. Changes in one remote corner can ripple across the globe. The Arctic's wounds are a message. The world is shifting beneath our feet. To understand these explosions, we must look beneath the surface, into the world of permafrost. Permafrost is ground that stayed frozen for at least 2 years, but in Siberia, it can be over 1 kilometer deep. It's a vast frozen graveyard, preserving ancient plants and animals. Locked away, with this organic matter, is a colossal reservoir of methane, a potent greenhouse gas. For thousands of years, the permafrost acted as a sealed lid, keeping this carbon safely contained. As long as the Arctic stayed frozen, the system was stable. But now, the world is warming, and the Arctic is warming fastest of all. As temperatures rise, the permafrost thaws, the lid is failing. Dormant microbes awaken, consuming ancient matter and releasing carbon. In places, pressurized methane is finding escape routes. The Siberian explosions are the most dramatic sign of this process. They're the sound of ancient prison walls breaking. The Arctic's hidden threat is erupting into our world. The permafrost's stability, once taken for granted, is vanishing. The sleeping giant is stirring, and its awakening could reshape the planet. The Arctic's foundation is melting, and the consequences are global. What was once locked away is now being unleashed. The threat below is no longer hidden. The science behind these events is simple, yet deeply troubling. Permafrost is held together by ice. When it melts, the ground loses its strength and collapses. Thawing starts at the surface, but as the climate warms, it reaches deeper, unlocking ancient organic matter. When this matter thaws in dry, oxygen-rich soil, microbes release carbon dioxide. In wet, oxygen-poor conditions, they release methane, over 80 times more potent than CO2 at trapping heat. The Arctic is now releasing both gases, amplifying climate change. Another consequence, immense pressure builds as methane gas, trapped in the thawing ground, seeks escape. When the weakened lid gives way, the result is a violent explosion, a gas emission crater. These craters are the most visible sign of permafrost thaw, but not the only one. Across the Arctic, hills slump, coastlines erode, and the ground sinks. The very shape of the land is changing. The frozen foundation of the North is melting, and we're only beginning to see the consequences. The Arctic's transformation is underway, and it's rewriting the landscape. The process is accelerating, and the impacts are spreading. The science is clear. The permafrost is no longer permanent. The ground is shifting, and so is our future. The Arctic's thaw is a warning we can't ignore. The consequences are just beginning. The Yamal Peninsula is ground zero for these explosive changes. Since 2014, over a dozen craters have appeared here, each a stark reminder of the volatile forces at play. Scientists risk their lives to study these unstable formations, confirming methane explosions as the cause. The energy unleashed is immense, hurling earth and ice hundreds of meters. Indigenous Nenets herders have witnessed these events firsthand. Their stories, once dismissed, are now vital evidence. Their migration routes are disrupted, their land unpredictable and dangerous. The craters are more than local curiosities, they're a message to the world. Methane released here doesn't stay in the Arctic, it enters the atmosphere, warming the planet. The Yamal Peninsula's scars are a clear signal. The Arctic has crossed a critical threshold. The ground once thought permanent is now fragile. The end of the land is sending a warning to us all. The future is arriving faster than we imagined. In Alaska, the signs of thawing permafrost are quieter but just as troubling. Lakes are bubbling, not from heat, but from methane escaping the thawing ground below. In winter, these bubbles freeze in the ice, creating eerie patterns that can be set alight. At Easy Lake, Sulkur Sauer Misainuwe Bisao Markinshaw was Suwer Baz to life, was Sebulain Dan, Suderwan, was Suzer Bines, was a Bauwar, was so windshow, was so intense the water churns constantly. These lakes are now chimneys for greenhouse gases, venting ancient carbon into the atmosphere. The process creates a feedback loop. Methane bubbles stir the water, bringing warmth to the lake bed, accelerating thaw and releasing even more gas. Small ponds can grow into large lakes, steadily emitting greenhouse gases. There are millions of such lakes across the Arctic, many now releasing more methane than ever. Each bubble is a small contribution to a global problem. The bubbling lakes, like Siberia's craters, tell the same story. The Arctic's carbon stores are no longer secure. The frozen seal is breaking, not just with a bang, but with a relentless fizz. The silent landscapes are finding a voice, the sound of a warming world. The Arctic is changing, and so is our climate. Not all effects of thawing permafrost are explosive, some are slow and surreal. Across the Arctic, forests are tilting at odd angles, creating drunken forests. The once solid permafrost foundation is melting, causing the ground to sink and shift. Trees lean, curve, or topple as the earth beneath them collapses. This landscape of humps and hollows, called thermokarst, is a sign of widespread permafrost degradation. Drunken forests stretch across Alaska, Canada, and Siberia, showing the thaw's vast reach. As trees die, forests lose their ability to absorb carbon, worsening climate change. The thawing ground releases even more carbon, creating a vicious cycle. The leaning trees are a silent warning. The Arctic is losing its equilibrium, the ground is turning to mud, and the forests are losing their footing. The very foundations of the North are becoming uncertain. This is a slow-motion collapse, visible in the language of trees. The impacts are insidious, relentless, and spreading. The drunken forests are a sign that stability is slipping away. The Arctic's transformation is happening before our eyes. Thawing permafrost isn't just an environmental crisis, it's a human one. Indigenous communities, whose lives depend on stable ground, face existential threats. Traditional hunting routes are becoming impassable. Ice cellars for food storage are flooding. Modern infrastructure, buildings, roads, pipelines, was built on the assumption of permanent frost. Now, cities like Yakutsk are sinking, roads are buckling, and repairs are costly. Oil and gas pipelines, vital to the Arctic economy, are at risk of rupture and spills. The industry that fueled climate change is now threatened by its own consequences. For Arctic residents, this is daily reality: homes sinking, food sources vanishing, heritage eroding. Their plight is a warning: the Arctic's instability will eventually affect us all. The ground we take for granted is more fragile than we think. We are all living on permafrost in one way or another. The most alarming aspect of thawing permafrost is the feedback loop it creates. Warming thaws permafrost, releasing greenhouse gases, which cause more warming and more thaw. This is a runaway cycle, a train that's hard to stop once it gains momentum. Exploding craters, bubbling lakes, and slumping forests all feed this loop. Combined, they represent a massive new flow of carbon into the atmosphere. The Arctic, once a carbon sink, is tipping toward becoming a carbon source. Scientists fear we're nearing or have passed a threshold where the Arctic accelerates global warming. This is what keeps climate scientists awake at night, a natural process beyond our control. We can cut our emissions, but we can't command the permafrost to stop thawing. The Arctic's feedback loop is a warning that Earth's systems are more sensitive than we thought. The first rumblings are here. The consequences could be global and irreversible. The Arctic permafrost holds nearly twice as much carbon as the Earth's atmosphere. This ancient reservoir is no longer safe. Warming is picking the lock. If even a fraction escapes, the climate impact would be catastrophic. The Arctic, once the planet's air conditioner, is becoming a radiator. Melting ice exposes dark ground and ocean, absorbing more heat. The thawing permafrost pours fuel on the fire, releasing methane and CO2. The changes in the Arctic threaten the stability of the entire climate system. Exploding craters, bubbling lakes, and leaning forests are all symptoms of a planet out of balance. The Earth is sending a message, written in geology, chemistry, and dramatic events. Are we listening? The Arctic is the canary in the coal mine for the world. The message from the ice is clear. The world is changing, and the stakes are enormous. We must listen, understand, and act. The future of our world depends on it. The Arctic's warning is urgent. The time to respond is now. The consequences of inaction will be far greater than we imagine. The ice is speaking. Will we hear it?